Why don't you tell everybody what you're talking about for high holidays?
Well, friends, fortunately, we still have 5 days until Yom Kippur.
So she can start getting writing out, right? All right, let's get ready.
Wait, really? The 5 days? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
That's what my agent told me.
Yeah, 4 days, really. That's enough time. We just have to cross our fingers that nothing happens between now and then.
Come out.
I have my sermons written, actually. Rabbi, what about you?
I'm still waiting for the post to deliver mine.
Excellent. Well, that happens sometimes. That happens. All right, we're giving ourselves a few minutes to be right on time and to give Derek a chance to tell us if we're doing something incorrectly. But no news is good news, is what I say. So,
is that what you say?
I know.
Do you say that? I don't know, folks.
I should say that.
Leave a comment. Does she say it?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't think they can leave a comment. Oh, we get a text. Derek Bryant says, we're on. All right. Woohoo. Thanks, Derek.
That it could have gone any number of ways, so I'm glad it went that way. That's good.
Oh, it's funny. Usually it's someone else texting me in the middle of the service, and I'm like, why aren't you watching the service? Don't text me now.
All right. Although, if there is any issue with the signal, is there anything?
Yes, no, that's true. But also sometimes people text and they say, I liked that song, in which case that's really lovely, as long as I don't think it's something terrible.
Don't read the comments.
I do. I always read the comments. I don't even understand why people say don't read the comments. Like, why wouldn't you? Isn't that the point?
You just gotta keep doing what you do.
Please. I'm reading the comments. We are going to start in 1 minute.
What do you mean by don't read the comments? Like,
that's like a thing that people say, don't read the comments.
If I just want to say, like, 1 out of 20 of those, or like 1 out of 50 of those comments are bad, honestly. Like,
that's what happened on Ted Lasso last night. He read a comment, and it started a whole spiral.
But it's only like 1 out of 50.
That's true. All right, we are almost starting. We're going to give it 1 more minute. We are broadcasting, so everyone is present. There's Jonah. All right.
Shabbat is really loud.
Shabbat at our house. Welcome, everyone, to our house. Okay. No playing with fire.
Yes.
You know what's so funny? That is not the new one that I bought. Now even the new one I bought has disappeared.
They're like socks.
Yes. That's true.
You can only find the ones with holes or the ones that look kind of stupid. But
That's
who looks at your socks?
All right. I think that we are close enough that we should begin. What do you think, Rabbi? Are we ready?
I think isn't it actually a mitzvah to begin Shabbat early? Although
is it? I think it might be actually. Let's make that a mitzvah. All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight is Shabbat Shiva. That's the special name for the Shabbat between the High Holy Days. And this year, as you can tell, we are doing Shabbat virtually, and we're doing this for a few different reasons, in part just to be able to give our staff a break, also to give our police officers a break because they just provide us so much assistance over the high holidays. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone had a little time to just be able to relax and have the Shabbat for themselves. So we hope that you are still watching from home, and we're looking forward to having just a little bit of a Shabbat experience together. So we're going to start tonight by singing Ozi V'Zimrat Yah, which we sang on Rosh Hashanah, and we've been singing for so long now, and we hope you'll join with us. Ozi V'Zimrat Yah Vayai Yeshua 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 Ozi Vazimrat Ya Vayayili Yeshua Ozi Vazimrat Ya Vayayili Yeshua. So we're going to start as we do every Shabbat with our Shabbat Blessings. And Molly and Jonah, if you guys can help us with this. If you are following along in our Siddur tonight, we are turning now to our Candle Blessing, which can be found on page 2.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're doing. Sorry.
All right.
Fancy Shabbat candles. Okay. These are candles that we've been keeping for a long time, and they're all the way from Spots. And actually, there's a picture of Spot right behind it. That's kind of cool. Beautiful. All right, so we bring in that Shabbat spirits. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. We raise our glass for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Okay.
All right, and Maura Diane made us this amazing challah. So it's round, as is our custom on the holidays. And this one is a special apples and raisin and honey challah, which looks amazing. So Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. All right,
Why is the hollow round? I thought you were going to say something.
No, it's round because it symbolizes the new year and the circular nature. Yeah. Oh, yes. There's some honey on the outside too. All right, my loves. I'm going to ask you guys to take Charlie and go downstairs, and you can have a special Shabbat with the dog, and we shall keep the challah. Thanks. So, we know that on this Shabbat, and even sometimes for many of you who are watching from home, that you don't necessarily have the prayer book. If you do, we're going to give you the page numbers, but as always, we remind you that these are the traditional blessings and prayers that we say, but you can always just sing along with whatever words are in your heart or offer whatever words that are in your heart. And we're actually going to do one now that is a song that is not actually a prayer so much. It's certainly not in the prayer book, but it's one that means a lot to us and one of our favorites. May the Lord protect and defend you. May God always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord, and keep them from the stranger's way.
May God bless you and grant you long
May the Lord
life.
fulfill our Sabbath prayer for you.
May God keep you and shield you from
May God in God's wisdom always care for you.
May the Lord protect and defend.
May the Lord protect and
May
defend
God
you.
always shield you from
May God
shame.
always shield you from shame.
Favor us, O Lord,
Favor us, O
with
Lord,
happiness
with happiness.
all year
many of the songs that we sing traditionally in synagogue, they really were actually meant for us to be able to sing at home at the Shabbat table. One of them is Shalom Aleichem. And Shalom Aleichem is supposed to be when you're recognizing that whoever is sitting at your Shabbat table, that it's not just the people around you, that there really are angels in our midst. And maybe they come and visit our homes when we're celebrating Shabbat in the right way. So if you're following along, we're on page 24, and we sing the 17th century Shabbat table song, Shalom Aleichem, welcoming in the Sabbath angels. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Orachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ani L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so we're going to turn now to page 28 if you're following along, and we're going to call each other to worship. If we were together, we would invite you to rise, but now we just ask you to sort of let your spirits rise and let your voices rise as we sing the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed, HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed. We turn to the prayer that we are supposed to offer when we wake up in the morning and when we go to sleep at night, the words of the Shema. And I invite you, if you wish, to cover your eyes and really just hear the melody and the words of this song. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed. So as you may have noticed, Rabbi Michael said those words a little bit quietly. And that is actually the tradition, that you say the first blessing of the Shema out loud, and the second blessing you are supposed to say quietly or even silently, except there is one time a year where you're supposed to say it all the way out loud, and that is on Yom Kippur. So if you've been saying it quietly for your whole lives or the whole year, you are welcome to say it as loud as you want to on Yom Kippur. Most of us actually say it out loud most of the time, but if you want to follow that tradition, Yom Kippur is your time when you really get to belt it. So we'll continue with Ve'ahavta on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavacha
Hayom Alevavecha, Vishinantam Levanecha, V'dibarta b'am, V'shivtecha b'beitecha, Uvlechtecha b'derech, U'shachpecha u'kumecha, U'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, V'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, U'chtavta al mezuzot beitecha, U'visharecha, Leman tizkeru, V'asitem et kol mitzvotai, V'yitem kedoshim le'eloheichem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, Lihiyot lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem. So if we were in services, this would be one of those times where I would give you your quiz, which I know you're going to pass, even though I'm not going to put you on the spot now, which is to say, oh, no, we can do that one. Never mind, I'll give you your quiz in a minute. So first, we are going to turn on page 40. What about all the teachers' pets out there that are
I
like,
know, hold on a
crazy?
second.
I need a
I know, I didn't know we had this song,
Okay.
so never mind. Okay, so on page 40, we're going to sing the song that Moses and Miriam sang as they made their way from slavery to freedom, the Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha, Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Neder v'kodesh, Norati lo, Oseh Peleh, Norati lo, Oseh Peleh, Micha Mocha, Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Neder v'kodesh. Okay, so I just have to laugh. I don't know if you can appreciate, but this is like the chicken scratch notes that I made Rabbi Michael read so that he could play the Micha Mocha. So that was so impressive. Sorry about that. All right, now comes my quiz. What I was going to say after the Micha Mocha is that, as you know, the high holidays don't end with Yom Kippur, that there are holidays that come right after it. And the next holiday is Sukkot. And the reason that we talk about Sukkot now is that when we sing the words of Hashkivenu, which always follows Micha Mocha, Hashkivenu asks God really to spread a sukkah of peace over all of us. And so even though we only celebrate Sukkot once a year and we build these temporary shelters in our yard, we sing Hashkivenu and ask God at all times to spread symbolically a shelter of peace over us. I know, it's the one you don't like, but I love it. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. So we'll turn now to the words of Tefila, which can be found on 46. And usually we get to this one and I tell you that you can offer the prayers of your hearts, which you still can. You always can. However, if you happen to be reading from the Siddur tonight, I will tell you that this is the one Shabbat a year where the words are a little bit different. You'll see in the middle of your page on 48 and then on 50 that there's a little indentation for something different to do on Shabbat Shiva. So when we get to that point, we'll sort of pause in the melody and you can hear the typical high holiday tropes, the high holiday cantillation for the middle parts. But you'll notice that what is different about the prayers that we say on Shabbat Shiva is it asks God to remember us for life and to inscribe us in the book of life, which of course is the theme of these high holy days. But we'll begin our prayer, our tefillah, in the typical fashion. And again, we invite you to rise in your hearts, in your voices, if you wish.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi agitayin latecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. Now we pause. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם עזרת שרה, אמן. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים והופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. We pause again. מי כמוך אב רחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ורחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות הקום, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הקום. And I'm going to turn now on page 60 and offer a prayer for peace. Peace in our country and peace around the world. Peace in the land of Israel. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim La'olam. Ki ata melech hador lachol shalom. Ki ata
Bishlomecha Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasig La'olam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasig La'olam. So we'll take a few moments now and we'll turn, if you wish, to page 253. And we'll think now of all the people in our community who are in need of healing prayers, and we're sending our love and our thoughts to them. We're thinking of Arlene Alper and Lisi Weinstein. We're thinking of Jerry Krause. We're thinking especially tonight of Drew Patchen. And we're thinking of all of those who are in need of healing. Jenny Anger, we're thinking of you. Everyone who could just use a little bit of extra love and a little bit of extra blessing this week. For all of you and for all of us. So Mishabera. Mishabera Avoteinu Mekor HaBaracha May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach Imorteinu Mekor HaBaracha Lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Ose Shalom Bimrama Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Ve'imeru Amen. Ose Shalom Bimrama Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Ve'imeru Amen. So I thought I would offer just a few words of Torah tonight. So tonight is Shabbat Shiva. And Shuva, of course, is the word that means return, and that's what the high holidays are all supposed to be about. We call it Shuva, which we say is repentance, but really it means return. And the reason that we say that is there's supposed to be this idea that on the high holidays we are returning to a better version of ourselves, that we are going back to the very best part of ourselves that we could be. And there's something really lovely about that, especially because in Judaism, we have this prayer that we say every morning. We say, Eloheinu shamash natata bi torahi. We say, God, the soul you've given me, she is a pure one. And it's supposed to remind us that we always have this potential to go back to this perfect, pure self. But the thing is that's not really what Shuva is. right? It's really not this idea that we're going to like go back to the womb and somehow be, just our soul. Most of us, when we think about a time that we might like to refer to, usually it's not about something that's internal. Usually we're thinking back, and when we think of the times when we were our best selves, that it's because of something in our circumstances. It's because it was, the favorite place that we ever lived, or it's when we were young and we were so healthy, or it's when, we were first in love, or when that one person, was still living and we still had them with us. That's what we think of when we think about returning to a better time. And of course that's not real. That's an almost like a dangerous kind of nostalgia, to think that you could return to some other point in your life, because there is no going back. And it seems that we do this. We have this longing to go back, to be this better version of ourselves that we really can't become. And this isn't just who we are as individuals. This is also, I think, who we are as a country. And I've heard it a lot these past days as people have been recalling September 11th, because of course the 20-year anniversary of the attacks on 9/11 is this Shabbat as well. And when people have been talking about their memories of that time, so many of us, we recall what it was like to live in America before that happened, and just how different life was, and how safe we felt, and how much we felt that America was the best place to be, and that we were always in control, and that we were in power, and nothing bad could happen to us. And it was, a time before there was this just sort of casual xenophobia that we have so much now, a time where you could travel anywhere and feel good, this time in history that feels like it was better, and then we have this longing, again, sort of dangerous nostalgia to return to that time. And I can tell you that I thought that way for a very long time. But I can also tell you the moment in time when my understanding of America and how we can't go back again changed. And I'm sure Rabbi Michael remembers this moment well. It must have been like 7 years ago, and we were at a bat mitzvah for a student who we just adored. She was a really a great young woman, and it gets to the point where she is about to give her Dvar Torah. She's about to give her speech, which is a really wonderful speech that we worked on her with, and all of a sudden she starts improvising. And I just want to say right now to anyone who's becoming bar or bat mitzvah out there, do not do that. It is a big no-no. And Rabbi Michael and I are looking at each other and we're like, oh man, I mean, we were super mad that this girl in her bat mitzvah, that she's just starting up to get up and do improv. And it was good, right? But we were still upset about it. But then in the middle of it, at some point in her Dvar Torah, she mentions her birthday. And I don't remember why. I don't remember the context. She mentions her birthday, and she was born on September 12th, 2001. And she's in the middle of this Dvar Torah, and I remember we just sort of paused and looked at each other, because it was almost like in that moment everything stopped. Because we realized that this girl, this wonderful chutzpah, disobedient, but really bright and amazing young woman, that she was born the day after. That her entire life was lived not knowing the America that happened before September 11th. And that she, and we know her now all these years later, and turned out to continue to be this amazing, chutzpah, wonderful, brilliant young woman leader, that she was born in a world that came after. And if we have a longing to go back to some sort of time, we have to acknowledge that there have been some amazing things and amazing lives and amazing changes that have happened since the day after, since September 12th, 2001. And that if we have a longing to go back to that point in history, not only do we know it could never happen, but somehow it makes invalid all of the wonderful things that have happened since. And so maybe we have to look at our lives in the same way. That even if we look back at points in our history and we wish we could return to that one time when we lived in the perfect place, where we had the perfect relationship, where we had that person who we loved so much who is still living, that we recognize that as much as we miss and we long for those times, that there have been wonderful times since then. That we have had moments of greatness and moments of beauty and grandeur, and maybe also moments of loss and sadness and shame since then, but still there have been some good ones. And if we were to somehow go back and really have this experience, lashuv, to return, that we would be missing all of those. So maybe what we need to think about is not so much this idea of Shuva, of returning, but maybe just to acknowledge that we can still find some of those best pieces of ourselves so we can be inside, but it's not about returning. It's about finding a way to move forward, to move into the future, taking with us all of the best pieces of ourselves, but saying that the day after, whatever that is, the day after September 11th, the day after Yom Kippur, the day after, that day too can be a better and brighter day. So we're going to turn now towards the conclusion of our service. We are going to think of those who were taken from us in recent days, and our hearts go out to their families in sympathy. We recall with love the name of one taken from us so recently, and we are thinking of her, of Dr. Leila Zai. And we now recall the names of those, the anniversary of whose death occurs on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation on the Wall of Honor for perpetual memorial. Eli Ableys, Abraham Abrahamson, Milton Aronson, Eva Bernstein, Celia Bistro, Lena Carafoil, Dr. Benjamin Halpern Cohen, Harry Cohen, Esther Mildred Corman, Max Cornick, Laurie Bryn Feldman, Ida Frank, Raymond M. Fried, Melville D. Friedman, Elsa Geiger Goldman, Hannah Greenberg, Julius Greenblatt, Bernie Harris, Lillian Karsh Hendon, Bernard Hirsch, Louis Hillel Horowitz, Belle Hurwitz, Emma Katzenstein, Julius Klein, Walter Koch, Rose Coppola, Lillian Koslow, Herman Kreipke, Manette Leba, Ira Mayfield Lang, Max M. Liebrock, Ida Litkovsky, Ann Litt, Albert Melman, Rachel Stix Michael, Fanny Moore, Bert Nachman, Lucille Newell, Enid Siegfried Offenbach, Tessie Orchard, Babette Pearlstein, Isidore Reisfeld, Selma K. Roos, Mame Rosenblatt, Arthur Rosenfeld, Harold Rothman, Sam Rotzkopf, Saul Sachs, J. Michael Salinger, Lillian Tenenbaum Schirmer, Pauline Berliner Schiller, Walter Sears, Rebecca Reese Schmuckler, Adele Levy Stadler, Moss Stern, Nathan R. Wegeson, Nathan Weinstein, May Tash Weiss, Rosa Wolfheim, Sadie Wolfert, Beatrice Young. And so too, of course, we remember all of those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. So thinking of them and thinking of the loved ones we keep in our hearts, we turn to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. If you're following along, they're on page 294. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divarach terutei v'yamlich machotei, v'chayechom uvyomechom uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv emru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach la'alam omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yithaleh v'yithalah shemei dekudasha b'richu, la'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'alko Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'alko Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'alko Yisrael, v'imru amen.
No, I think that it's time to actually think about what you spoke in your first. It's time to move forward.
So we'll sing one last song. We'll sing the words of Hashivenu, asking God to give us a chance to return, if not to our best selves, then at least, God, to you.
We return, we return, we return, we return again. We return, return again to you.
So, my friends, we wish you not only Shabbat Shalom, but we wish that you will be written and sealed and inscribed in the book of life for another year. And we will look forward to seeing you in just a few days, or at least to having you see us on Yom Kippur. Shabbat Shalom. Shana Tova.